Hello, hello, welcome.
Welcome.
See, we have lots of folks shuffling in. We'll just wait
Yeah.
another few seconds and then we'll get going.
Wow, this is so exciting, Sarah Anne.
Lots of people.
Look at all the people. How fun.
My guess is that we've got people tuning in from all over.
Yes. It's a great thing about Harvard Extension, our global reach.
Absolutely. So we're over 100 attendees at this point and still coming
Nice.
in. A few more seconds, I think.
Oh,
Still coming in.
we should have taken a little wager on what it would be to win a prize.
Yeah. We're right about 120 attendees. It's kind of stalled there, so I think maybe we will get things going. So welcome everyone, and thank you for joining this breakout session. We're going to be talking about tips and tricks for juggling work, school, and life as a Harvard Extension School student. My name is Sarah Anne Stinnett. I'm an academic advisor for the undergraduate program, also called the ALB degree. I'm also an ALB graduate from the class of 2017, and I'm a soon-to-be 2023 graduate from the master's, or the ALM program in dramatic arts. So excited. Today, I'm joined by some fantastic speakers who I'll introduce briefly now, and you'll get a chance to hear from soon. First off, we have our academic dean, Suzanne Spreadbury. Thank you for joining us. We also have Rachael Uriate, who is a 2022 graduate of the ALM in journalism program. And finally, we have Abdell Gautier, who is a current ALB student and joint degree program candidate. A warm welcome to our speakers and to all of you, now 130, tuning in to engage with us today on a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Before we turn to our speakers, who I'm very excited to hear from, I'm going to give us a little bit of an intro. And at the end, we're going to open things up to have a roundtable discussion wherein you can ask us your questions. So definitely familiarize yourself with the Q&A feature. We'll be taking questions from there. Before we do that, I'd like to share a little bit from what I have learned from my experiences as a student and an advisor. Every experience at the Harvard Extension School is a learning experience. Choosing to pursue your education is an exciting and challenging endeavor. The idea of juggling work and school and life often raises themes, including, but not limited to, prioritization or sacrifice, leaning into resources, personal, professional, and academic, investing in taking care of yourself, navigating and overcoming different kinds of challenges that you encounter along the way, celebrating your victories, big and small, and those milestones as you work toward achieving your academic goals, and developing new skills to manage and invest in the diverse areas of your life. So joining the Harvard Extension School comes with the opportunity to transform your intellectual life. And in turn, your knowledge and your leadership gives you the power to make change in your community. Every experience at the Harvard Extension School with your esteemed faculty, your eager and engaged peers, and the staff who are committed to your success has the potential to teach you something. So my recommendation is to approach the challenge of balancing school, work, and life with an open mind and a willingness to allow yourself to discover the interconnectivity between learning and your life, making greater use and meaning of the knowledge that you gain. So what efforts you put into your education may cross-pollinate and enhance experiences that you have as a professional, a family member, a leader in your community, and most of all, as a lifelong learner. So those are my words of wisdom. I'd like to shift and ask Dean Spreadbury to tell us a little bit about herself before I ask her some questions, wherein she's going to share her valuable and informative insights. Dean Spreadbury, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I certainly will. And thank you, Sarah Anne. I have to just say a little word about Sarah Anne, who's a rock star ALB advisor. I get unsolicited emails all the time from students saying how much they love and appreciate Sarah. So we're in good hands today with Sarah Anne. Yes, so I'm Suzanne Spreadbury. I am Dean of Academic Programs at the Harvard Extension School. And what that means is that I come to work every day and think about the student experience, which is a job that I absolutely love. So I oversee the degree programs and the certificate offerings, and I also think about the student experience, the academic advising team, the admissions team, and the career and academic services team. So I think about you and your student service needs and how we can better serve you all the time. I was also an adult learner myself, juggling full-time work with graduate school and even undergraduate for most of my life. So I understand what this topic is all about from a personal experience. So really happy to be here and be joined by these wonderful students who are going to give you those insider tips and tricks.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Dean Spreadbury. So first question I have for you is, what paradigm shifts must occur for individuals who are seeking a Harvard Extension School education?
Well, in terms of this topic, I think about two kind of paradigm shifts that I would encourage. I wouldn't say they're must-haves, but I would encourage people to consider. In my experience of being an advisor and working with students around this topic, it's the first tip that I would really encourage you, and this is a little bit out of the box or paradigm shift out of the box, is to really claim this identity as a student at Harvard. There's a lot of research out there that when the words that we use to describe ourselves can really change our mindset. So there's a lot of research recently on when people say I'm a voter versus people saying I voted or I vote, is actually a big difference to say that I'm a voter. And people who claim that identity vote more often. And if you think about our lives, right, we don't say we care for children or our children. We say we're a parent and we're a professional marketing manager. And I would ask you to say, I am a graduate student at Harvard. I am an undergraduate student at Harvard. And to use that language when talking to yourself and talking to others, because claiming that identity makes it more part of who you are. And therefore you devote more time and energy to it versus just saying, oh, I'm taking courses. I'm taking undergraduate or graduate courses. It seems like something that you're doing on the side and not something that's central to who you are. So I think that really helps with the mindset to balance work, school, and family. The other one that I believe in strongly is having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And a fixed mindset is something like, that's not who I am. I can't do that. A big one is in math, right? I'm not very good at math. I can't do it, right? So the idea is that you're fixed and you can't change, right? So someone that has a growth mindset believes that even if I'm struggling, right, with certain skills, that my abilities are not set in stone, that I know from work and, time and effort that I can improve, right? That's having a growth mindset. And being an adult student where you're balancing all of these things is not something that you innately know how to do, right? It's going to take time and you're going to have to learn how to do it. And if you're not doing it well right off the bat, that doesn't mean that you're bad at it. It just means that you need to get into a groove and you need to learn and you need to grow and you need to have this feeling inside of yourself. Well, this is part of the process. This is part of learning and growing. Well, I'll just do better next time. I'll figure it out next time. I need to learn and get better at this. This idea that, right out of the gate, you're going to know how to do all of this is just it's crazy pants. Like, this is something we all need to learn how to do. And give yourself a break, and that you're not going to be perfect at it, right away. It takes time. It's just like any other skill. You got to learn it and you got to be easy on yourself and not think that you're failing, you can't do this. No, you're learning, you're going to do it better. Maybe next semester it'll go a little better. Who knows? Maybe the semester of that you'll be perfect at it, but it's a process that you need to go through.
Fantastic. I'm so inspired. Thank you. Thank you. My next and last question for you, Suzanne, is what is your one kernel of wisdom that you would share with all students new to the Harvard Extension School?
Well, so my one kernel of like concrete tips, right? So those two were kind of like bigger mindset things that are more internal and more maybe a little psychological. But my one concrete tip would be this: 15 minutes a day, every day, work on your courses. I think one of the most difficult things that happens with adult students is that they take a course on Monday and then their life gets all busy and they don't think about their course at all until Sunday night at 5 o'clock, where they've decided, all right, from 5 to 10, I'm going to do nothing but study. And, I'm like that time. And, sometimes that time gets disrupted because your kid is sick or, work wants something. And so if you've decided that it was only going to be at this one time and you were going to try to cram everything in those hours, it's usually not a recipe for success. And I think that if you, I suggest getting a notebook for every class that you take. And even if you're just journaling in the notebook for 15 minutes in the morning, when you wake up, if it's quiet on your way to work, commuting, a time where you kind of reflect on what you heard in class, reflect on your reading, take some notes. I think that your brain, will start processing the course material every day, right? And as you sleep, you'll start thinking about the course material and new ideas will come to you. And so when you do sit down on the weekend, on a Saturday, or if there's a certain day, your brain will already be primed to start engaging with the material right away. You won't have to gear up. And who knows, the 15 minutes might go to 20 some days, or even 30, who knows? But if you do it every single day, 15 minutes, even if it's just, I don't have time to think about this class right now, I've got so much on my plate, even if it's just getting those thoughts on the paper, I promise you it'll help just to stay engaged in the content every day, even just for a little bit. So that's my tip.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dean Spreadbury. I love your kernel. All right, now we're going to turn to two student speakers we have today who are going to share some of their real life experiences of juggling. So first, I'd like to invite Rachael to speak about her recent time balancing work, life, and school as an ALM journalism student. Rachael, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. I'm over here in California. You can't tell because it's really early in the morning, but that's part of your experience as a Harvard Extension School student. Like, you may not be taking classes at the time that you want to take classes, because the classes that you do want to take might be at some very strange times. So I apologize. It's about 7:13 here in the morning, and if you hear something like thunder rolling, that is my little baby who's probably just about to wake up and cause what we like to call chaos right before he goes off to daycare. So that's just a great segue into me starting off with my 3 tips for how to juggle all of this. And the first is, you need to be clear with yourself, and you need to be clear and honest with yourself what you really want out of your Harvard Extension School experience. If it's just to say, oh, I've gone to Harvard, I guarantee you you're not going to get everything you can out of this, this experience that you're going to get. And it really is an experience. And what I mean when I say experience is that I have literally made friends online on Zoom during the pandemic that I've met in real life, and they are now my lifelong friends, and they studied some courses with me, and we share tips about careers and things like that. But if you're just focused on the kind of like tangible aspects of getting a degree, you're going to miss out on that. And I met some of these people during study sessions and WhatsApp groups and things like that. So I think it's really important to actually look at why you want to become a Harvard Extension School student. Another thing is that sometimes you are looking at it from a point of view of, oh, I just need to get this degree. I approach this as, I want to reach this next level in my career, and how can I get there? So I did a lot of research about the type of institution I wanted to attend to get my master's degree, and I looked at all the course offerings that Harvard had, and I just found a lot of them spoke to me in a way that, this is not really journalism related or communications related, but I feel like I really enjoy taking this, and in doing so, I feel like it's going to enrich my life somehow. And an example of that is I took a class which is usually taken by creative writing students called The Art of the Pitch. And it's a fantastic class. If you do end up coming to Harvard Extension School, I highly recommend it. And I took it. I had no idea about pitching. And I ended up using my final project that I made for that class. I entered it into a competition at the behest of the instructor, and I won runner-up. Didn't win first place, but I ran runner-up. And I would have never, ever have thought to do that had I not had the opportunity to just open my mind and be honest about what I want out of my experience at Harvard Extension School. The next tip that I have, the second one, kind of touches on what Dean Spreadbury said about planning your week. You need to be flexible, but you need to have a plan. And that just not only means like a week-to-week plan for your courses or a semester-to-semester plan for your course, but also about if you're choosing the degree path or even a certificate path, how you want to achieve that. And I think the best way to do it is what Dean Spreadbury said, is to not cram. And I know those of you who are looking at the ALB or the ALM, you're like trying to get your old study habits from high school or your undergraduate degree, and you're like, I will just cram. It will not work. I'm just telling you now. Like she mentioned, life gets in the way. I had my son during the pandemic, and my due date was the day before my final exam for a compulsory law course that I had to take. And I was like, whoa. I reached out to my instructor, who was amazing, and he was so supportive. He's like, if you need to have a makeup date for the test, obviously your baby's like not going to adhere to any timeline, please just let us know, but don't fall behind on the readings. And I had several readings per week, and you cannot cram several readings per week into just like 2 hours on a Sunday, because what if I have to go to the emergency room, or I have to have a doctor's appointment, or anything like that? So really finding 15 minutes every day, or even if you alternated on every other day, which is what I found helped. I was in a unique position because it was the pandemic, and there's like just a lot going on at home, but just finding those minutes in the day to sit down, just do your reading really quickly, and then maybe review it on a day that you've planned on the weekend is extremely helpful. My final piece of advice would be to find support, and that can be from your friends, your family, your co-workers, your work. If you are taking a graduate degree or an undergraduate degree and you are working, I would recommend, I know sometimes it's a bit scary to talk to your boss or your manager, but really talk to them about it, because you will find that in general, most people are supportive of you wanting to continue your education, because they know that you're going to become a better person, a better worker, a better co-worker, and that will benefit them too. So just be honest with them. And I was really lucky that every person that I talked to was extra supportive when I needed to leave work a little early to miss the traffic to get home in time for class. They were fine with me doing that. So really just find that support system. My husband was a great support for me when the baby was born and he needed to be fed, and I was in the middle of a class doing a presentation with Sarah Anne. And sometimes, the baby wanted to wander over and climb into my lap and heal. And you just need to be flexible, but find that support, because you can't just do it all by yourself. As much as you like to think that doing a degree is by yourself, the core material is you doing it by yourself, but the support system that you have around you to keep you motivated, to keep you happy and wanting to complete what you're doing, are the people around you that care about you and that want you to succeed. So those are my 3 things, which is be clear and honest about what you want out of your experience here at Harvard Extension School. Plan your weeks, plan your semesters, plan your degree path, your certificate path, and also find support from your friends, your family, your co-workers, and anybody that can uplift you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rachel, and congratulations on your recent graduation. So proud of you. Alrighty, next and last, we have Abdell, who please share some of your thoughts on balancing work, life, and school as a bachelor's and a joint degree student.
First of all, thank you, Sarah, and for hosting this session. Thank you, Suzanne Spreadbury, for your amazing wisdom and years of experience helping all of us. And thank you, Rachael, for sharing wonderful pieces of advice. And also to you participants, I see the number of you guys, and it is an amazing thing to see the number of participants. It is amazing because we're all converging around certain themes. And in particular, I have an outline that I want to share with you guys. I call it a three-stage strategy and how to juggle work, school, and life. The first one is deep reflection. And I think we have heard this by Suzanne and Rachael and Sarah. Why am I doing this? How can I improve our world? These things matter, and it will give you motivation. It will fuel your journey. As part of that deep reflection, be aware that you're not alone, that you matter to people that came before you. So honor them. Think about people that help you. Also, think about the people that will come after you, because you will be a role model by your actions in your educational journey. That's the first, in a nutshell, reflection. From there, then we go to the second stage of power research, as I call it. You made it this far. You are here. You can do this. Apply the same passion. The same passion that led you here is the same passion that will take you to a successful completion on every single course. Create an online document with your planned courses per semester. And once you have that document and that plan, share it with friends, colleagues, family members, and you will feel a little bit more accountable at optimizing your plan, thinking about contingencies. I think it's a powerful thing to have a plan. It will help you craft a winning strategy for sure. And the last stage of the strategy model is resilient execution. In particular, at work, try to predict and leverage time off. For example, I'm taking today time off from work so that I can more fully enjoy this session. And after this open house, I'm going to advance on my courses on a timely manner, just like Suzanne said, in advanced, not at the very end, which is key. In addition, I try to do at work, some people take breaks, they may go to a social network platform, or they may listen to music or read a magazine, and all those things are fine. I try to also incorporate in my breaks, go and check on course content, announcements, classmates, forum posts, even if it's 5 minutes, but keeping tabs on that course. Many times, course schedule changes. There are announcements that this deadline moved, or there's a bonus assignment that now is available. And the sooner you are apprised of such events, the better your execution and performance in the course. At school, in every course is something that I learned and I'm starting to apply now, is to streamline your communication channels. As soon as you join a course, engage with your fellow students. Establish a messaging app. So when the time comes, you feel that you're maybe struggling to understand something, you have that channel that you can pose a question in a more real-time fashion. Instead of emails and wondering for hours, that messaging app is going to help you move faster with your classmates. And in life, I try to free additional space by reducing the time spent on some activities. I still enjoy life. We all need to disconnect and recharge. It's important. At the same time, it's prudent to constrain sometimes time that it can be used for educational activities. For example, if I like to watch a TV show that I'm passionate about, I cut a little bit of my watching time because I'm creating space for my courses. And I am intentional about it. And it's not a sacrifice. It is a privilege and a joy to be able to do that. Because after all, this is Harvard and we want this. We are here. 2 more points. place important course dates, such as quizzes, exam projects, in a highly visible area in your space, in your home. You know, when I'm working and when I'm doing something else, I can see exam on this date. It's always in front and center. Major milestones are in front of me all the time. It's harder for me to miss. And also I place alarms when appropriate. You know, make sure to study, like Suzanne said, 15 minutes. So I have my alarm at 6:00 p.m. Eastern time. Time to think about and review your course schedule and materials. And lastly, join the Harvard Extension School Facebook group. It's a wonderful networking group of people that you will learn many more tips and tricks in that group. And I wish you, all of you, the best. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Abdell. Wonderful, wonderful tips, both from Abdell and Rachael. So we're going to turn to the Q&A portion. If any of you have questions, go ahead and type it in the Q&A. We have time to answer a few. And while people are thinking of some questions, I'm going to read a couple of comments that came in. We have one person who shares, I'm very academically focused. Grocery shopping even suffers. So we commend you for your prioritization. Don't forget to eat. You need that. We have another person who says, thank you. Very useful tips. I feel inspired. Wonderful. All right, I'm going to read out a couple of questions, and my speakers, please let me know if you'd like to answer them. I have one here specifically. I think maybe Suzanne, this one might be for you. We have someone that says, that was inspiring, Suzanne, as I was wondering, how can I start learning again after completing undergrad school almost a decade back?
Well, you're certainly not going to be alone in that. I think that that's one thing to remember, right? I mean, most students who come to the Harvard Extension School have been away from school for more than 10 years or so. I mean, the average age is in the mid-30s. So one thing you need to know is that you're not going to be alone in that. The other thing that I would suggest is be sure that you take your foundational courses. I'm not sure what area of interest you are going towards, but you know, we have the building blocks of writing courses to get your, you know, Expo 25, Expo 15, you know, fundamentals of grammar. You know, I think one of the things, the first things that kind of we forget as we are working in the working world, right, where we're writing memos and we're writing emails and we're doing PowerPoints. It's such different writing than, you know, a thesis statement with evidence and, you know, that academic writing skills. And it's probably that you haven't lost it, right? But that you just need to refresh it, right? It might be a little rusty and you need to go back and do that. So, I mean, I would think about how the writing courses fit into your program and starting there. We also have this wonderful thing called Getting Harvard Ready, which is an online module, which is one of the things that's great about it is that it's on Canvas, which is actually the learning management system that we use for all of our courses. So you get used to using Canvas at the same time. But it's a way to help students get their writing skills up to start, you know, that might be a little rusty in terms of academic writing and thinking about that. So, and that's just free and easy, and you can do it at your own time. And so that would be one of my thoughts.
Thank you,
Two of
Suzanne.
my thoughts, I guess.
Thank you. We have another question. I'm going to ask Abdell to take this one. What is the best way to determine how to pace yourself through a degree program? How many courses to take at once? What kinds of course formats, etc.?
Great question. So the strategy that I employed was to start small. You know, make sure that you don't overdo. I think that's a mistake that we should all try to avoid. There is no perfection, but definitely, like Suzanne mentioned, it is a skill set. It's like riding a bike. And in terms of course load, maybe start with one course and, you know, read the syllabus, try to understand what the demands of the course is. And from there, you will adjust. Every term will be different. So there is not a silver bullet that always 2 courses or always 3. Every life is different. Dynamic changes over time. So I would say start small and so that you can increase your success rate. And then from there, you will tailor accordingly.
Thank you, Abdell. Wonderful. We have time for just a couple more questions. So this, I'm going to combine two of them and ask Rachael to speak to these. The first question is, how do you juggle the little human things? Groceries, house maintenance, etc. Do you outsource everything? And this relates very much to another question, which is, what is the most important advice in the field of time management you may give? So time management and the little human things. Rachael.
Those are great questions. I would say that it really just comes down to looking at your life and, like I said, being honest about it. If you are extremely busy at work, then I feel that it's best if you really say to yourself, okay, 15 minutes at the end, right before I go to bed, I'm going to do my readings that I need to do for class or things like that. We kind of have the tendency sometimes to push things off and say, I know my capabilities, I know I can rush through things at the end of the week and get things done before class starts. But when you do that, I feel like it just adds extra pressure that you don't need in your life. So just look at your life, doing things like grocery shopping. I wish I had somebody to do that because I hate grocery shopping. But it's just really looking at your days and giving yourself some grace, because sometimes, you just don't have the energy to do it, but being able to say, you know what, I don't have the energy to go grocery shopping today. I have a class reading to do, and asking for that support around you, the people that are supporting you, if you have those people in your life, and really making, like I said, a plan that is based on where you are right then and there, and how you can achieve your next goal.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rachael. We're going to take about 2 more questions, and then we're going to call it a day. So we have 2 questions that are combined, and I'm going to ask Abdell or Rachael to let me know if you would like to answer these. Someone asks, would anyone be willing to share more about a major hurdle that came up and how they handled it? Which relates to another question of, is there flexibility for work-life issues? Rachael or Abdell, do you have a specific hurdle situation you'd like to share?
I think having a baby right before the I don't exactly was a major hurdle, and that
Yes.
I think that our instructors I mean, we do have ways to help students, right? We have, if something were to happen at the end and you couldn't make the final exam, there is you can ask for a makeup if it was due to a serious kind of health issue, or there's ways that we certainly can support students. I think that I think one of the things is that it's important to ask for help, right? And it's okay if you're, what if you get the flu in the middle of class, in the middle of the semester, it's okay to call your TA and call and email your instructor, or if your instructor has office hours, and kind of brainstorm about how you're going to get back on track and get some realistic advice about whether it's possible, right? I mean, have you missed so much, or is there a plan to get you back on track? I think the one thing is not to feel like you need to make these decisions in isolation, but that you can talk to your teaching staff team. I mean, ordinarily there's teaching assistants as well as faculty as part of the courses, and to really just have a reality check about what, how can I make this happen? I'm committed, and if I move this around, or if I could get an extension on this one piece, would that be okay? I mean, sometimes there's flexibility, sometimes there isn't. I mean, just depending on the course. But I think until you ask, you don't know, right? So maybe that. I mean, our instructors all are very seasoned and educators of adult students. I mean, 90% of them have taught adult students for a very long time, on average, at least 8 years, if not 25 years. So these situations are not new to them.
Can I just add really quickly to that, Sarah?
For sure.
Is that I have found that your instructors and your teaching assistants want you to succeed. That is like the most important thing, is that they will do anything they can to help you, and they want you to succeed. So when major life things come up, the worst thing you can do is just hope it like you can work yourself through it, because you have that built-in support right there with your courses, with your instructors, with your teaching assistants, and they want to help you, so ask for help.
Wonderful.
And I would like to add one more point,
Sure.
that, you know, I have a philosophy of fighting for every point. And it's a good philosophy because there is no perfect execution in my experience. We're going to lose a point here. There may be a life situation, like Suzanne mentioned. So the better we perform ahead of time, then when life happens, we have that cushion of good scores because we really fought for every yard, for every point ahead of time. We will take a hit, but when we take that hit, we have many points to cushion us and protect us.
Fantastic. Thank you, Abdell. All right, we're going to take one last question. And this I'm going to hand to Suzanne, if you don't mind. So in your opinion, what makes people come back and study at the extension program? Is it because we're not fulfilled?
Because we're not fulfilled.
That was the second part. So why do people come and
Yeah, I think I think, you know, my sense, I mean, I've been here for 35 years, so it's a pretty educated sense, right? And talked to thousands of students. Yes, I do think that there's something about wanting to grow, wanting to reinvent, wanting to move forward, wanting to make a bigger impact, either it's locally or globally or nationally. I mean, the idea that what I have right now is not enough, right? I want more. I want a job that's going to be a little different. Maybe I want to transition into sustainability because I'm passionate about the climate. I've always wanted to be a creative writer, and I want to do that now. I want to do more, and I want my life to be a little bit different. And I want to work hard to make that happen. And I want to be surrounded by experts who are going to help me, right? And by peers who are also committed to reinvention and doing more. And I think that's why they come, right? Because, you know, Harvard is a convener. Harvard Extension School is a convener of adult learners who are really engaged and want something different. And so when you get all these interesting people together, and then we have faculty who care passionately about teaching, right? I mean, they're here because they want to teach their love, their joy, and they want to teach it to you because they love the work experience and the life experience that they bring to the classroom. So it's this combination of instructors who love to teach and students who love to learn, and then this magic sauce comes together. But yeah, I do think it's about wanting more, for sure.
Thank you so much. And a big thank you to all three of you, Suzanne, Abdell, and Rachael, for sharing your tips and tricks and your insights. I feel inspired just listening to this. I think I'm going to go look at the courses and see what I can take next semester. To those of you whose questions we didn't get to answer, as Leslie put in the chat, feel free to visit other various booths and chat rooms. We have the whole Extension School staff here today to answer your questions. I encourage you to go to other breakout sessions or other live webinars. And also feel free to reach out to the enrollment services team anytime you have additional questions about how you can get engaged, learn more information, or start your journey here at the Harvard Extension School. With that, we will call it a day, and I wish everyone a wonderful rest of your open house. Take care.